Welcome to the world of stand-up. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Stand Up. You get the pleasure of seeing me solo again. I have had a very interesting week, and I've had some very stark and powerful realizations come to me in this week. And being that I've created this blend of comedy and self-development and just a chronicling, if you will, of my journey, I felt that it was acceptable for me today to share with you some of the things that I've been through in a hope that it resonates for you and helps you. That's really all the reason why I would ever do something like this. This isn't for me as far as my ego to get something out and to beat my chest as far as how great things are for me or how not great they are or whatever it is that I relate. It's more to give us, you and me, the listener, the viewer, a connection that if there's something that I've experienced and gone through, maybe you won't have to. Maybe the hints and clues that I can share with you will divert you to a different path that will allow you to collapse time in your journey and to overcome quickly without the pain associated with some of the dumb things that I've had to drudge through my entire life. So I wanted to talk about today. This last weekend, I went back to Dana Point, California for another meetup with my Ascend brothers. And for those of you that haven't seen my episode from a few weeks back, in December, I joined what was called the Ascend Brotherhood. It's something that was created by Keith Yackey, and it's a very different type of group of men. There's masterminds all over the place. There's places you can go and learn all sorts of things about your business. You can learn marketing skills. You can connect. You can have people help you with whatever it is. But there's not really any other sort of brotherhood out there where the point of getting together with these other men is joy and to focus and to empower each other as men. One of the things that I've learned throughout my experiences in my life, and it's been really magnified as I've been a part of this Ascend Brotherhood, is this idea that, like, as men, we need each other. We need to compete one to another. We don't need to shy away from competition because competition raises our level of fire. As men, we need that fire. We need to stoke that fire that not only do I want to be my best, I have a desire to be the best. And the only way that I can strengthen that muscle is to compete. And so we go to these events, these weekends, we do competitive things in a friendly manner, and it allows us to do that. We also as well talk and we validate each other and we listen and we grow together as friends and as brothers in a way that allows us to not be so needy when we go back to our intimate relationships with our wives or girlfriends. It's a really simple and normal thing, but it's so odd. I've said this several times. It used to be that we needed tribes to survive. We don't anymore. We need tribes to thrive now. And so I went back to Dana Point and was able to hang out with my bros and have a good time. Another thing that I wanted to point out, I've said this before, but I want to reiterate it. There is a saying that says the saying is that comparison is the thief of joy. And I would like to offer a perspective about that. I don't believe that. I believe that it can be a thief of joy if you look at comparison wrong. One of the things that I've been enjoying with these brothers and men that I've been working with, they're all successful. They all have things going on well in their life. They aren't perfect and they have struggle, of course. But yet, when I compare myself or my lives or my results to their results, it doesn't rob me of joy. It inspires me. It makes me realize if that idiot can do it, I can do it. And I say that respectfully. Because as a competitive man, I automatically think that I have a way to succeed at the highest levels that I see all around me. And so instead of it robbing me of my joy, it actually, again, stokes my fire. There is a fire that is stoked with competition. There is a fire that is stoked with comparison. And we do ourselves a disservice when we don't acknowledge that and don't lean into that. This world wants us bubble wrapped, wants us soft, wants us weak. And ironically, the only way to become strong and powerful is through the refiner's fire of competition and growth and association with other powerful people, men specifically. So that's what I'm going for today. I wanted to share with you some of my experiences in a hope to give you a different perspective that might have you picking a new thought, having you looking at things different, looking at yourself and your life and what is available to you in a very real way and shattering your own glass ceiling, so to speak. So the first thing that I wanted to share with you was this real, oh man, this was a breakthrough, massive breakthrough that I had. One of the things that's been a part of the weekends down in California have been somatic breathwork sessions, where there will be a facilitator that comes in and they will guide us in a breathwork session, which is a combination of meditation and rhythmic, deliberate patterns of breathing. When you breathe in a certain pattern, it hyperoxygenates your cells. It causes your mind to fill with all sorts of images and feelings. You feel things in your body corporally. It's a very impactful thing. And it can be very spiritual. It can be very emotional. There's been several times where in breathwork sessions that the tears have come, this last time included. There's been times where I felt like I was floating. There's been visions that I've had. And all of them come as the result of this hyperoxygenation of your body and every cell due to this rhythmic, deliberate, patterned breathing in a meditative state in a calm environment. For my breathwork facilitators out there, I hope that I described that in a way that honors what you do, because it's an incredible thing that you guys have learned how to do in guiding groups of people through these sessions. I'll just say that. The breathwork session that I had and the breakthrough that I had was towards the end of the session. There was a woman whose name is Jen Coles, and she was the facilitator for this group, and she came in and she was setting the stage, so to speak, of what this was. Now, I want you to imagine a dark room with meditative type music playing in the background, and everyone's laying prostrate. They're laying on their backs, and we're quiet and we're breathing, and the pattern of the breathing was a double in and a singular exhale. So it's like you start in your stomach, and then you go to your chest, and then you exhale with your mouth. And there's no breathing in your nose, so it's and you do that for an hour. Now, she's teaching us how we're supposed to breathe. She's telling us to when you're thinking that you might be doing it wrong, you're not. Like, she's just eliminating any of the issues that come up in your mind when you're doing this, while at the same time mapping out the pattern of what we will be doing as well, because there was 4 different intervals where there was a deep hold, where you do the breathing and then you hold your breath for as long as possible, and then you exhale after that. And she was saying, like, don't be surprised if you find yourself holding your breath for minutes at a time. Your body's super oxygenated. It's totally possible. Don't be surprised if you have yourself falling asleep, if you're feeling like things happen. Like, really, really eliminating anything that we might mentally put there as an obstacle towards the end goal of true spiritual and physical connection with your body due to this breathing. She asked us to consider a thought or a word that we would focus on during the hour of our breathwork session. And for me, what it was releasing self-judgment. I wanted to have a deeper connection to myself in a way that would allow me to release self-judgment. Now, if you think about it, self-judgment, you judging yourself, is the one thing where the buck stops relative to your ceiling as far as what you can achieve in life. If you judge yourself as not good enough to be X level or Y level or Z level, then you never will be there. If you judge yourself to not be lovable or worthy or fill in the blank, you will never reach that. And so as I was considering this and seeing evidence in my real life of the times where my self-judgment was holding me back, I wanted a deeper understanding to that. I wanted to release any idea of self-judgment. And more importantly, I wanted the data that showed me why, that gave me a compelling emotional reason to never allow the idea of self-judgment into my mind or heart ever again. We begin the breathwork session, and it's normally more heightened of an event for me. Other breathwork sessions that I've had it where I became very emotional, where I had releases, I had breakthroughs, I had things that were really kind of dynamic in my body and in my breathing that I didn't have this time. It was very relaxed, it was very calm, I was doing my breathing, everything was great until the very last hold that we had, where, as I shared, there was these 4 intervals of dynamic holds where it's like you just breathe in and then you hold your breath as long as you can. Well, in that breath, that last breath, I had a vision come across my mind, and it was a powerful vision. This last hold of breath was right before the end, and so at the release of that breath, there was further instruction from the facilitator. I hold my breath, and all of a sudden I get transported in my mind. I know this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it's not crazy. I transported myself into my mind, and that didn't sound right. I transported myself into my mind. I was in my mind, transported to some other place. It was a very crystal clear vision. And what I saw was I personally, from my point of view, first person, walked into this room. And in this room, there were individuals from the course of my life to which I had sought approval, and that I wanted them to like me. I wanted them to think that I was great. I wanted to be close to them. I wanted to be friends with them. There was something about each person in that room that was important to me, that I had lowered myself to in a way, in that I felt I needed them, their approval, their energy, their love. And there's this room of people. And so I walk up, and, people like my wife are there, people like my parents. There's several, pillars of my life, people that I wanted affection and attention and appreciation and love from. And I walk up to each one of them, in a very tender embrace ensues. We're hugging each other, and I'm feeling their warmth. They're whispering in my ear things specific to my experience with them in my life. Hey, when this happened, I wanted you to know I appreciated this. I loved it when you did this. It was feelings and expressions of love and acceptance in each embrace. And I'm going to tell you, it felt wonderful. I felt in this moment like I was getting approval that I had sought for so long. And I went around the room, and it was every person. It was a different experience, but there was that same sort of emotional feeling of love and acceptance for myself from each one of them. And at the very end, out of the periphery, comes the last person. And that person was me. I looked myself dead in the eyes, straight in the face, walked up to myself, and gave myself a hug. And as the embrace tightened, and I could feel the tenderness and the connection that I was having with myself in this very sort of odd, I'm hugging myself, but it feels like I'm still my individual, but yet it still feels like I'm hugging myself, and I'm feeling this. I'm hearing words of appreciation from myself. I'm hearing words of thankfulness, of gratitude, of forgiveness. I'm hearing explanations for things in my life that I didn't have explanation for, as far as why I did certain things, and I'm getting that from this. Except the feelingness associated with this embrace was 100 times better than any of the other hugs and embraces that I got from other people in the room. In that moment, it was like, oh, this is the one. This is what I've been searching for. I've been seeking for approval and acceptance of myself. And in that moment, everything changed. Like, I felt this like fire inside of me. Well, outside of this experience in the room where the breath work was taking place, the facilitator then starts instructing us, as it's the wind down for the entire hour, to start moving around a little bit. And she says, if you want, roll to your side and embrace yourself. Now, this is happening while I'm having this embrace and this conversation with myself. I'm hearing these words from her in this sort of distant place from where I was at inside of my mind. The room we were in was very cold, and I was laying on a couch, and the couch was leather. And so the heat of my body laying on that couch had started to build up. And so I roll over and I hug myself, and I feel in connection with this wonderful acceptance in my mind that I'm having from myself. I feel this physical experience of the warmth of the hug because of the warmth of the leather and my physical location of where I was. And it set me off. The waterworks started coming. I felt a core change in the warmth and love and acceptance that I have for myself. It was as real as anything I've ever experienced. In that moment, I felt a shift at my core, that I was now a different man, that all of the other situations and people that I wanted acceptance from, they matter, and it's great, and it's important to receive validation and acceptance and approval from those people that you hold in high regard. But it pales in comparison to actual self-acceptance of you. When you can love yourself truly, not because it's some pithy sort of love yourself, but feel it. When you can look at yourself with true compassion and true love and acceptance, it changes your game. And that happened for me in that room. I found myself immediately being unwilling to participate in certain behaviors that in the past I was doing that was not serving me, or it was minimizing who I am and what I have to offer. It was an instantaneous shift. I was a different person, am a different person on a core level, at my identity level. Now, let me share with you something as far as how important this is, because I want to make sure that this isn't just some, nice story, but how when you get to that point where you really, truly love yourself and accept yourself, it will change how you see yourself. And I want to walk you through the way out and how that changes everything associated with you when your identity shifts. You see, there is a hierarchy when it comes to who you are and how you're built. And at the top of that hierarchy is your behaviors. It's the very last manifestation of who you are and why you do what you do is how you act, how you behave. And a lot of people think that in order to change your behaviors, you need a 30-day challenge, or you just need more accountability, or you need enter the whatever. And while those things can serve and provide help, the help will never be lasting change until you change down the ladder to the very core. So let me map this out for you. At the top is your behaviors. Your behaviors are governed by your beliefs, by the things that you actually believe to be true about you, about life, about God. And those beliefs are governed by your values. The things that are your core fence posts, the things you do and won't do, where your values lie, those things govern your beliefs, and your beliefs then govern your behaviors. But underneath your values is where your identity is. How you see you on a core level, who you are, what you're worth, what you deserve, the things that you allow in and out of your life, the way people treat you or don't treat you. All of that starts with how you see yourself at your core level, your identity. And then just to walk back up the ladder, your identity governs your values, governs your beliefs, governs your behavior. In that moment, when I felt my identity shift, it was as if there was a part of my challenges that just automatically went away, because now I knew those behaviors are no longer a part of my life. I have zero interest, zero pull, zero temptation to live in a way that lets those behaviors go. Things like not allowing myself to always be in a place that supports me, allowing the people in my life to reflect a certain level of love and trust, or they're not in my life. By putting myself first. There have been times in my life where I put myself last. I've been the nice guy. I wanted to make sure everybody else around me felt good instead of handling me first. And by doing that, it adds a burden of weight, because that weight comes from a place of lack of love. You can be helpful and loving and powerful for other people and show up for them differently and do it with a full cup. I hadn't been doing it with a full cup because I wasn't loving and liking myself. I was judging myself. I was being judgmental about the abundance coming my way and thinking to myself I wasn't worthy of it. So I want you to think about that for your personal experience. Look at your results today. Are those results hindered because you don't think you can do better? Are your behaviors, your lack of follow through, your lack of vision, is that because on a core level you don't think you could do it, or that, more importantly, that you're not worth it? Because I'm here to tell you that's exactly why they're there. Anytime our behaviors are less than excellent, it means that at our identity level we don't see ourselves as excellent. because it goes up and down the ladder. That identity affects your values, affects your beliefs, affects your behavior. And when I had that core shift in that moment where I really felt love and appreciation for myself in a spiritual, physical, and emotional way, it shifted the trajectory of where I was going in a real way, very real. There are certain things now that I just do not put up with in my life. There are certain energies from people I will not entertain. There are certain things that I will not allow. And that's not because all of a sudden I got stronger muscles for behaving. It's because at a core level, it will never take me to a place where I would allow that to be anything less than that. Now, I want to conclude by sharing with you an example about this, because I think we misunderstand things like the law of attraction and things like manifestation and how to have your best life, because we misunderstand how dynamic we are as people. It's been said that everything is a vibration. Our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, they vibrate at a level. And that if you want to achieve a certain level of success, you have to, on a frequency level, vibrate at that level. If I want to be a truly healthy, dynamic, vibrant man, I have to vibrate in my body as a dynamic, vibrant, and healthy man. If I want to be a millionaire or a billionaire, I have to vibrate in that same frequency of the energy of that abundance. But where we get it wrong is we look at it in a very binary way. It either is or it isn't. I'm either vibrating at that way or I'm not. And it causes confusion as to what we are capable of. I would like to present that you're a song. You're not just a singular note. You know, when you look, for example, at a piano and you push on those higher keys, those strings in the piano are very small and tight. And it takes a ton of energy to vibrate those strings to get that high note. And because of the output of that energy, the note dissipates quickly. You ding it, ding, it goes away. When you go to the other end of the keyboard and you push on one of those long, fat chords, you push on the note, boom, and it resonates for seconds at a time with less effort. So the low notes are things like anger and sarcasm and failure. The high notes are things like success and love and growth. But if we were just one string, if as humans we were just one string, how would we actually be able to have dynamic lives where things are going really good in one part of our life, but it's not good over here? And what happened for me is I realized that I pulled it back. Like we're like a piano. We have a bunch of different strings in there. We have our body string. We have our relationship string. We have our money string. We have our spirit string. We have how we handle with our kids. That's another string. We have how we take care of things like our cars, any experience in life is another string in that giant keyboard of what our life is. And so just like in the creation of music, we can be playing 3 different strings at the same time. And sometimes, just like on a piano and just like in music, those 3 notes sound horrible together. But sometimes they sound like harmony. And sometimes they sound like a melody. And sometimes when you play them in a different order, it is melodic and it is a song. And our lives are a representation of song from a frequency standpoint. And so when you are feeling like you don't have it all together, but it seems to be going okay over here, but this part, realize that's just part of the concerto that is your life. And to seek vibrationally on the parts that you know are in alignment and that give you the notes that you like, keep playing those notes while remedying and fixing the broken notes and the broken chords in the other parts of your life. That's kind of a silly example, I think, but I think it works. Like each of us are a song. We're a series of notes, of frequencies, of vibrations. There's several vibrations that we're emitting at the same time. And sometimes they feel good, and that's why people enjoy being around your energy. And sometimes that's why you enjoy somebody else's energy, because the notes that you're playing and the notes that they're playing, they vibe, and they harmonize, and the melodies work. And other times they don't. It sounds horrible, like you're just standing on a keyboard with a boot. And that's okay. So why do I bring this up? I bring this up because I want you to have the difference. I want you to have the understanding of the difference. I want you to know that it's okay to have certain things going great in your life and other things not. I want you to know that even though it can appear like it's complicated, you having your best life is a very simple endeavor. And it starts with you. It starts with you being able to acknowledge, I like myself, I appreciate myself, I love myself, I know I'm worth it. And if you can't, with authority, say those things and feel that note ringing in your chest that it's true, start there. Because it's a lie. You not liking yourself, the reason why you don't, it's a lie. It's a bold-faced lie, and you keep feeding it. So just starve the lie. Play different notes. Take care of yourself. You have to see yourself, if you're not in shape, you have to start in your mind's eye seeing yourself as in shape. You have to look at your body as the way that you would see it if it were in shape and work towards that. And then allow those values and beliefs and behaviors to change so that you then have a fit body. If you're looking at your bank balance and your business and it's a bunch of horrible stuff and it's full of lack, how are you seeing yourself as you show up to that? Do you see yourself as somebody that can handle it and change it? And that's better than that, and that's beneath you, and that you get to then change how your values are and the beliefs and the behaviors you have relative to how you handle your money or not? Your relationship, God, parenting, all of it. You on the bottom. You at your identity, your core level, you got to like yourself. And if you don't, start there, because I'm sure that whatever behavior or thing that you did that's making you think bad about yourself, it's forgivable. So anyway, as I wrap this up, I have two encouragements. Number one, check out somatic breathwork if you can. It's popping up everywhere. Go to wellness centers. I know a lot of massage therapist clinics around the country have people where they bring them in. Like, you can find it. Go Google somatic breathwork. If you're here local in Salt Lake City, there's several facilitators that you can find. I'll tag Jen Coles, who was the one that we did. She's actually from Utah, even though she was in Salt Lake. Dr. Shannon Sperber was another one that we've used. She's amazing. There's several facilitators that are available that you could find. I'd say give it a shot. If you can get a better understanding of who you are and why you feel and think the way that you do, and then release all of the negative crap about you, oh my gosh, it's mind-blowingly cool. And I want that for you. So this is a little middle of the week episode. If it resonated with you, I hope that you would share it. I've been trying to grow my podcast, and the way that I do that is through you, the listener and the viewer. If there's anything you'd like to reach out to me about, please do. I would love your feedback on this. If you've had similar experiences with breath work, I'd love to hear about it. And that's it. Thanks for watching and listening to Stand Up.